Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree. Today I'm doing something different. I'm doing the top 25 sci-fi movie franchises of all time. I am very specifically talking about movies here, not TV shows. Even if this franchise has a TV series tie-in or spin-off or related, we're only talking about the movies. So I want to make that very clear. So I want to start off with the weakest one on the list. And that is Predator. Whoops. Predator is kind of a sci-fi action thriller horror mashup. About a super futuristic sci-fi alien monster race of, I guess, super soldiers or super hunters who come to Earth to hunt different people for different reasons at different points in time. Some of the movies are good, some of them aren't as good, but overall it's a solid franchise. Number 24, even though it has an ongoing franchise, it makes the list because the first entry is a damn good entry. The second one is passable. And the rest are just good entertainment, as in they're fucking so cheesy that they're worth making fun of. They're just good for a laugh. This is the Tremors franchise. You know, it's good for a laugh, if nothing else. 23 is a solid fucking sci-fi franchise. Now, there's only 3 films in the franchise. Only 2 of them that are, you know, worth revisiting. The middle entry, like a lot of these trilogies, is the weakest link. We have Back to the Future. Back to the Future is just fucking awesome. My problem with Back to the Future is I grew up in the 90s where TBS used to play this movie like every goddamn day. So I've seen it too many times I can't watch it anymore. But I still love it. I still like Back to the Future 3, but I can live without Back to the Future 2. Never really liked it. Number 22 only has 4 entries currently in the franchise, but I believe it has a 5th on the way. This is more dystopian sci-fi. This is Mad Max. All pretty good entries, all things considered. The best, in my opinion, is Beyond Thunderdome. That's like the Mad Max of all the Mad Max movies. Damn good movie. The next one is kind of strange because it's had some reboots over the years. It exists in a couple of different timelines and in a couple of different versions. But they're mostly pretty good. This is Planet of the Apes. The original run, the original Planet of the Apes movie, damn good movie. A+ all the way around. Some of the sequels are good. Some of them are not so good. The Marky Mark remake from, I believe, 2001-ish sucks balls and can be forgotten. And then there's the more recent reboot that started, I believe, with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Rise of the Planet of the Apes, etc. Those are mostly pretty good. Number 20 is more horror than some of the other franchises on this list. Some of them are sci-fi horror, but this one is more horror than sci-fi, but it is definitely sci-fi. And it's based on a popular video game. This is Resident Evil. Rock solid entries all the way around. Not a bad movie in the bunch. Number 19 only has 2 entries, so this one just barely made the list. But I put it on the list because the first film is a fucking classic. It's an annual staple. It's a movie I watch every year, every July. You know what it is because I just gave it away. It's Independence Day, motherfuckers. Damn good movie. Sequel, but the first one fucking rocks. Number 18, I believe, is the first comic book property to make it on the list. Now, all of these have comic books based on them, but this is the first one that started as a comic book. And it's one of the earliest comic book superheroes of all. It's the chief comic book superhero. It's Superman, the Man of Steel, the last son of Krypton. The Superman franchise it's got some hits, it's got some misses, it's got some bumps in the road, but overall, taken as a whole, it's a damn good film franchise. It has more hits than misses. We just don't talk about the one with Kevin Spacey in it for different reasons. Various reasons, I mean. Number 17 also only has 2 entries, and again, they're both rock solid entries. The first being like the one that defined the genre. Like, if you're trying to introduce people to science fiction as a genre, you start with this movie, and they're going to be hooked. And it's Avatar. And that's all I can say. I mean, Jesus Christ. This movie came out of nowhere and blew us all away. Number 16 is similar in tone to Back to the Future. It's a sci-fi comedy with a heavy emphasis on the comedy. But the sci-fi tech is central to the plot. And actually pretty cool. And this is Men in Black. Now, Men in Black is stands on the shoulders of the original, but some of the others are pretty good too. We just really wish the flashy thing existed in real life so we could erase Men in Black 2 from our memories. But since that's not possible, the franchise as a whole makes the list, but it's really only the original. Number 15 is very similar to Planet of the Apes in that it has had a shit ton of reboots and various timeline splits and alternate realities, etc. But they're all good movies. This is another one kind of like Tremors in that some of them are good just to make fun of. Some of them are legit good. And then you have the one from 1998 where we're just all like, can we please not? Ever again, please and thank you. I'm talking about Godzilla. Godzilla fucking rocks. I mean, who doesn't love fucking giant monsters? I mean, come on. Kaiju were the best. I grew up on Power Rangers. You knew I was going to put Godzilla somewhere on this list. Number 14 is the Thinking Man's Godzilla. Again, this is technically one continuous franchise, but it could also be split into 2 franchises. I'm just going to call it Jurassic Park and just let you decide which ones belong in the timeline and which ones don't. But based on the first Jurassic Park movie, this franchise is amazing. Hey, look, I love Jurassic Park 3. I like Jurassic World. I can do without the Lost World. Number 13 is another comic book one, and it's a Marvel one. The first of many Marvel franchises to make this list. One of the better Marvel franchises in that it has 4 entries, but only one that sucks. The other 3 are all damn good. And this is the Thor franchise. I'm going to say Ragnarok is still the best. Still my favorite. But I love the Thor franchise. I can watch the Thor movies as standalone movies. Minus that Dark World. I can do without it. Number 12 is another Marvel sci-fi fantasy franchise, and this one is like pure sci-fi. This is like the definition of sci-fi. This one is like the Marvel version of Star Wars before Disney bought Star Wars. This is Guardians of the Galaxy. If you're jonesing for some Star Wars, but you don't want to try to pick which version of Star Wars to watch, Guardians of the Galaxy is a damn good substitute, and it's not a knockoff. It's just like it's a good dose of the same stuff, and it feels damn good to watch. Number 11 is another comic book franchise, and it's also in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And one entry in this franchise in particular is on my top 25 list of greatest superhero movies of all time. And we're talking about Captain America. And obviously I'm talking about The Winter Soldier, which is a damn fine movie. Now, Civil War is also pretty fucking good. I can do without the first Avenger, honestly. But it's still a pretty good franchise. But the rest of these, we're into the top 10. The rest of these, while not every individual entry is going to be good, the ones that are good are so good that they're better than everything that's come before. We're starting number 10. We have Spider-Man. There's some damn good Spider-Man movies. In fact, I would argue there's only 2 not good Spider-Man movies. Amazing Spider-Man 2, not good. And Spider-Man 3 with fucking Topher Grace, not good. The rest are all damn good movies. Number 9 is one that probably confuses some people the most because it's also a TV series. It was a TV series first. But we're only talking about the film franchise. And I separate the TV from the film because the film franchise is good. The TV shows suck all the way around. We're talking about Star Trek. Yes, I hate Star Trek as a franchise, as a television franchise, because it can suck balls. But the films are fucking good. They're not all good, but there are more good than bad. And the ones that are good, like Wrath of Khan, as an example, or First Contact, are so goddamn good that they transcend they transcend sci-fi, and they just enter into the proper lexicon of film in general. And they're especially the Wrath of fucking Khan, goddamn good movie. Number 8 is the X-Men franchise, another Marvel comic franchise. This one's kind of funky-dory because it's got some misses, especially the Wolverine and the Deadpool movies. But the main X-Men franchise are almost all pretty good. Pretty rock solid for the most part. You got a couple of weaker entries in the franchise, but none of them suck. There's not one that sucks. They're all good. It's just some are better than others. Now, my favorite comic book property is the X-Men, but my favorite superhero is Batman, and Batman takes the number 7 spot. Even though his movies are not really that sci-fi, he does have a lot of sci-fi tech, and he pops up in other people's movies like the Justice League and Wonder Woman, etc., where his sci-fi tech is more important than in his own movies. But again, with one exception, I haven't seen a bad Batman franchise movie, and I'm lumping in the Suicide Squad and the Joker movies and some of the other spin-offs in the Batman franchise. So if Batman is in it, or if it's set in the Batman universe, it counts. With that being said, the worst one is obviously Batman and Robin, but the rest are all good for the most part. Various degrees of good. Dark Knight Rises kind of sucks, but it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen. Number 6, and I'm not talking about the MCU as a whole, I'm specifically talking about the 4 Avengers films as Avengers films. They're all damn fucking good. But Endgame, it's especially, and also Age of Ultron was pretty good. That first Avenger movie was goddamn awesome. Infinity War is just sort of like it's setting us up for Endgame, but Endgame is where it's at. Just a little bit better. Again, this one is only the first 2 entries are good. It has a reboot, but the reboot sucks. The rest of the franchise not as good, but that first one is so goddamn good that it elevates it above some of these others. And the second one is still pretty fucking good too, and this is RoboCop. I know some people are saying, how dare you rate RoboCop higher than the Avengers? Look, RoboCop is fucking bloody. I'm a horror fan. Give me the gore. I'm good. Plus, I love RoboCop. And I hate the Avengers. I just love the Avengers movies. So there you go. Number 4 is sort of reminiscent to another one on this list. But it's also kind of original in its own right. And it's the Matrix franchise. It's known as a transgender allegory. I am a transgender person. It was created by transgender filmmakers. So I'm a huge fan of the Matrix franchise. I love the aesthetic of the Matrix movies. You know, I love the hacker culture, the whole sci-fi, you know, cyber world, virtual reality thing, simulation that's going on. Great action movies, great, just great fucking movies. Number 3, I like just a little bit better than The Matrix, but I almost swapped these two. But number 3 makes the list, not because of the franchise as a whole is great. It's a lot of great entries. But the first 2 entries are just so fucking good, I can't live without this franchise. This is the Alien franchise. Alien is one of the greatest fucking sci-fi films ever made. And Aliens 2 somehow holds a candle to Alien. The rest of the movies are hit or miss. Not all bad, not all good. But still pretty good as a solid franchise. Number 2, greatest sci-fi franchise of all time. I am not going to say it doesn't have a dud, because it's got a couple duds. But again, at least the first 3 films, which is mathematically more than most of these other franchises that I've compared, are damn good. The number 2 entry in this franchise defined a generation of just, it did. And this is the Terminator franchise. And if you don't know how Terminator 2 defined the 90s generation or millennials, then you haven't been paying attention to history. Because this was like our flagship movie. This was like Terminator 2 Judgment Day was the movie that gave millennials something to like own and call our own. This is the movie that defines our generation. And it's fucking awesome. I love the Terminator. The Terminator, great movie. 5 out of 5 stars. Perfect fucking movie. Terminator 2, great movie. 5 out of 5 stars. Perfect fucking movie. Rise of the Machines, 5 out of 5 stars. Great movie. Perfect fucking movie. And then you had some bumps in the road from there, but still solid entries. I would say drum roll, but you already know what the number 1 greatest sci-fi franchise of all time is. If you've been paying attention to this list and you notice it's the one that's missing, it's Star Wars. Star Wars gave us the sci-fi blockbuster. Before Star Wars, science fiction was a joke. After Star Wars, science fiction was the standard. You know what I'm saying? It went from being something nobody took seriously to like, holy shit, everything needs to be sci-fi now. All the big blockbusters, save for Titanic, are science fiction movies. And that's because of Star Wars. There are 10 main entries in the Star Wars franchise. You have the 9 saga films. All 9 are good. I love them all. You have the 2 spin-offs. Actually, that would be 11. You have Solo, which blows chunks. And then you have Rogue One, which is probably the best Star Wars anything that's ever been made. Being the best doesn't automatically make you my favorite. My favorite Star Wars movie is always going to be The Phantom Menace. Nothing is ever going to top that, just because it's time and place in my life. You know, I was 16 when I saw it, and it just revitalized my love of Star Wars and science fiction. Now, I have a dedicated horror channel, Horror Trans. I could do a dedicated sci-fi channel just like Horror Trans, but I won't, because most of the sci-fi movies I'm going to talk about are horror movies anyways. And I can go ahead and talk about them here on my main channel. Hell, I could just do a whole Star Wars YouTube channel, and I'd be good with that. And just talk about Star Wars all day long. I'd be good with that. I love Star Wars. I love everything about Star Wars. Even the Ewoks. Even the droids. Even the Clone Wars. To an extent. Yes. Even The Last Jedi. Thank you very much. Stay cool.